Hallelujah, all my New South Empire and wonderful and fantastic fun family of winners. This your winner, Fitz you Sergio Fevers Huff. That's right. I'm here with my other winners. That's right, Mr. Samuel Blue and Michael Lee Bowie. Award winning, multiple award winning actor, producer, filmmaker, cinematographer, photographer, writer, director, Michael Lee Bowie, and political activist and strategist, Mr. Samuel Blue. And I want to say thank you guys for your service too. These are my comrades. All three of us are veterans, you know. Tonight I'm going to take the independent role, which I have been anyway, but I'm going to really lean toward that tonight because I got some issues with this other dude. But anyway, tonight's discussion is going to be how violent and fictitious the campaign ads have become, full of lies, full of propaganda, and almost hatred, pure hatred. And we're going to dissect each one of them and pull the falsehoods out of them and find the truth in them also. With that being said, my engineer, Mr. Sawyer Akins, which we appreciate so very much, especially through his dilemma he had. For the past 13 days, he was a victim of this, the hurricane before, Helene, and still going through, but he's still here, making sure the show must go on. And shouts out to Sean Starks, our producer. Anyway, with that being said, let's start with the first Harris campaign ad that we're going to dissect. Thank you, Mr. Yeah. Let's start out with let me see who's sweating the most. Let's start out with activist Blue. What are the truths and what are the falsehoods?
Well, I agree with most of what was in that ad as far as what I've seen on the finance committee meetings and just certain things in Congress. But I think if I was to say something's false, I don't think there's a way to show how much Harris's economic plan can raise people's taxes over 2,000 annually, because I don't think she's still made clear what her plan is. So I think that's definitely false right there for Trump to put that in there, because nobody really knows her plan. So that's one thing that I point out, the truths. Trump has said, and he didn't do it when he was president before, going after Social Security, Medicare, all those things. He plans to keep those in place and even strengthen them. And also now adding, that he's not going to tax Social Security, which is going to be a big help.
Okay. Now, and this is coming from you're Republican, correct, Mr. Blue?
I'm unaffiliated.
Unaffiliated. Okay. Now, was there tax on overtime and tips during Trump's presidency?
Well, back in 1982, that's when tips started to get taxed. When that I have the bill, but I can post that later. But taxes started to be taxed. I mean, tips started to be taxed back in 1982 under that tax plan, and basically the tips that it taxed was like if you go to South Beach, Miami, and you look at your receipt and you see that 20% that they just add no matter what, and it goes into a pool. That's what's taxed that money mandatory. Now, cash tips you're still supposed to claim, but they didn't start to enforce that until 2003. 2023, when the IRS created the website for people to log their taxes in, and if they don't log in their unreported taxes, then they can get fined and face prison time also.
Okay. All right, Sensei Buie.
Yes, sir. So what I disagree with on that very strongly is he characterizes that she's going to raise taxes on Americans, and she's already said a number of times that she would not raise taxes on anyone making less than $400,000 a year. Also, she said, in addition to that, she's going to lower taxes for Americans. So that campaign ad starts out with a very egregious lie. There's no doubt about it. So if you're gonna give lower taxes on the middle class working people, and you're only going to increase taxes on the wealthy, which the wealthy pay percentage of taxes. Some of them pay no taxes because of the way they are able to manipulate the law. She wants to rectify that, and I think most common sense tells you that that's only fair. Trump, when he did his tax cut, the majority of the tax cut was for the wealthy, the extremely wealthy, and major corporations. Small businesses and middle class people got peanuts. So his attack ad is way off track there. I disagree with that one strongly.
So did you find any truth in that ad?
What do you suggest is truthful about that ad? Do you have a suggestion what's truthful?
If I recall, not too long ago, if y'all remember when Kamala, I'm saying it right, Sensei? Kamala Harris flip-flopped to say and jumped on the bandwagon to say that she wasn't going to do the tips and she wasn't going to do the overtime and she wasn't going to tax Social Security.
Well, has she said that? I don't know that she said that. Okay, so let's talk about that. I'll give you my thoughts on that.
Mm-hmm.
So, how many times the Republicans have they tried to take away your Social Security? They've come up with plans to put it into the market where people are going to lose their shirt. People lose their shirt every day in the market. Okay, so or they want to keep raising the age. Mostly on the Republican side, they argue against the entitlements. They want to reduce entitlements. So the Democrats and Kamala Harris are not the ones trying to take away your Social Security. So now that being said, are you really can Trump convince me that he's going to take off taxes on Social Security? If they're saying that Social Security is going to be insolvent in a few years and they're trying to reduce your Social Security, how in the world are you going to make me swallow that you're willing to not tax Social Security? I don't believe it. And I don't necessarily believe that they should stop taxing Social Security because I don't want Social Security to go away. We all know that Social Security is a balancing act. What I would like them to do is stop using Social Security money for other purposes. That's what I'd like for them to do. That's the egregious thing they're doing.
I
But
concur.
we don't want it to go away. And I think that as far as tips are concerned, I think that it's particularly for people that are low income people, not taxing their tips. I think that's a reasonable thing, and I think both sides have suggested that. And the other thing was Social Security tips and overtime pay. Now, I've made overtime before when I worked a job, a salary that you know, and when you work four more hours, 8, so you go work 12 instead of 8, and it look like they take half of your overtime pay away from you. That's pain. That hurts. That hurts. That hurts.
Yes, yes.
So, no, it puts you in another tax. They put you in another tax bracket for that period of time. I think is why they're able to do that rather than it being quote unquote spreading out. They're doing it for that pay period. And I think a more reasonable way to do that would be to tax overtime spread out over the whole yearly salary, not within that period of time where it takes so much out of that check. But not taxing overtime at all. I think that's I don't believe they're gonna do that. I don't believe Trump would do that.
That's a major. That would be major. That would be major. That would be major.
Yeah. You know how many people make overtime pay?
Yeah.
They're never gonna do that. So he's throwing stuff against the wall now to try to pull gullible people in, but it's never gonna happen.
And I don't think it's flip-flopping when a person has free will to change their mind. You know, people learn. Everybody learn. Leaders, everybody learn. And sometimes they change their mind. I've heard that she's known to be the flip-flopper and taking everything that Trump says and trying to and run with it. She could be possibly just changing her mind. But I do recall 2 months ago, about 3 to 4 months ago, where the Biden-Harris administration hired 40,000 IRS agents to attack enforcing people that get tips and overtime and all of that to retrieve taxes. Do anybody else recall that?
I recall. Go ahead, Sam. Go ahead, Sam.
No, go ahead. Oh, well, the first thing I have to say is in 2023 is when the IRS finally released the website to hold people self-accountable for logging their own taxes, the ones that get cash tips. So let's say, for example, if I go to the barbershop and my barber charges me $40, but I always tip him $10, so I always pay him $50. Now, that $10 he's supposed to be paying taxes on. So if he ever gets audited and they find out that he hasn't done that, I go to him at least every 2 weeks. That's 26 times. So what happens is they've hired 40 something thousand, but the total at the end of hiring is going to be about 87,000. Now what they're going to do is knock on his door and they're basically going to say, hey, from just this guy, Sam Blue, you have 26 counts because I pay him through Venmo. You have 26 counts of financial wire fraud. You have 26 counts of, that's how they stack up charges. That's why when they find out somebody is not doing something like tax evasion or anything, they let it build up. They let it build up so they can hit them with all these charges. So what I'll say with just a little rebuttal from what Michael said earlier is when we talk about Social Security, nobody should have to pay taxes on Social Security for one simple reason. We already paid taxes on that money when we first earned it. So how many times are we going to let the government, keep taxing that Social Security? Because the taxes from Social Security don't go to the Social Security pool. When we initially pay out of that, it goes into that Social Security pool. The taxes goes towards the government jobs. The number one piece of the American debt are government jobs. So that's what we just have to be mindful of. We don't need all those government jobs. And that's how I think Trump's plan to reduce those things, he's going to cut out certain things. He's going to cut out these studies, some of the Green New Deal projects, and that's how he's going to open up that money that's being drained. Because nobody suffers. You hear about Medicare or Social Security, but we never hear about Medicaid getting hurt. They always find plenty of money. They have all these illegal immigrants that came, yet they're getting Medicaid. Nobody is arguing about, oh, where are we going to get this money? They make it appear. They can do what they want.
Okay, guys, we got to move on. But Sensei Bowie, I do have a question for you. What was the purpose of hiring this 87,000 IRS agents if she feels that she doesn't want to tax these tips, Social Security, or overtime? What was the purpose in even hiring the 87,000?
Okay, so this is another example of how Republicans and Trump mislead people with numbers and with facts and turn it into lies. The IRS workforce, the 87,000 figure is misleading because that figure is not just auditors. Those people are to do more than just ordering. You have customer service representatives that answer phone calls.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
You got people that transcribe data. You have programmers. You have lawyers, examiners, technicians, and appeals officers. So the majority of those new employees, it says here, replace 52,000 unexpected to retire in the near future. So this pumped up number of 87,000 is a smokescreen to alarm you into thinking they're coming out. But these people, they don't even go after people like you and me as much as they do after major corporations and wealthy people. I'm trying to figure how the IRS is going to audit a barber that didn't report all of his tips.
Correct.
That ain't happening.
Could I answer that?
Go ahead.
Okay, let's say, for example, the IRS hits me up and for any type of tax evasion or anything, they could basically make a deal with me. We call them CIs, criminal informants. They could basically say, hey, I'm going to introduce him to my barber. So he starts to go in there and get a haircut, ask my barber, hey, Manny, do you take Venmo or you take Zelle? And he starts to tip him. And they set him up.
I challenge you to show me one instance of that happening.
Well, they don't start it. They don't start it. Anything over
an instance of the IRS getting a CSI to come in and sting a barber. See, that's what I'm talking about.
Hold on.
It's coming up with these fake scenarios that don't happen. It's just the same way that they try to take away people's right to vote behind the fictitious voter fraud. There's voter fraud is so close to non-existent. You're hard pressed to come with any instances of it, except
on the subject of the IRS.
I'm talking about this fake stuff about barbers being investigated by the IRS.
Michael, you didn't let me finish.
Okay, y'all, we already 18 minutes in. Let's go to engineer. Let's go to a Kamala Harris campaign ad attacking Trump.
so we're going back to litigate the 2025 plan. Is that what we're doing?
We're
He's
dissecting
talking
that.
about the ad that just played.
We're dissecting that particular ad.
Good Lord.
Yeah. Well, good Lord, have mercy.
Lord,
But,
Lord ain't got nothing to do with this. Lord ain't got nothing to do with that.
Well, I was just reacting to what I just heard.
I know.
But Trump, I just dropped a link to Trump giving a speech to the Heritage Foundation. He talked about how good these people were and how they had already had a plan, and it was a wonderful plan. And half of these, well, not half, I won't say half, but hundreds of these people were out of his administration or worked with him in his administration with policies. His vice president that he chose, his vice presidential nominee, wrote the foreword for the book of the guy that's running the Heritage Foundation.
He wrote the foreword
in the leadership of the Heritage Foundation.
Hold on, Sam. I'm coming to you.
So when it says that they're gonna track who's getting pregnant, these are laws and policies that are being put in place by the leaders in the red states after Trump, who bragged about canceling Roe versus Wade, stacked his people in the Supreme Court, who lied when they said that they were going to honor precedent, and went into the Supreme Court and turned back on what they said and killed it. So now they are putting into place his policies. Now he can come out and say, "Oh, you can do it at this week and do it at that week," but I believe him what he did and what he said in the first place. And now when he comes back and says, "Oh, I don't know anything about this plan, this project plan. I don't know anything about it," that's why nobody believes him, because we're looking at his track record and his agenda plan tracks along with a lot of the things that in this agenda plan. So this project. So I don't see where it's a lie. It's just, do you believe Donald Trump when he says that he's not going to enact those policies? All of those policies that they have put out there track with what he's been doing and what his cronies are doing in the other states.
Okay, briefly, Activist Blue, rebut, because we got four more ads to cover.
First, I just have one question to ask Michael. How much of the Mandate for Leadership 2025 have you read?
Look, hold on. We don't have time for that. We got time for that at another time.
That's fine. Move on.
Mr. Blue, I need you to defend that ad or say that the ad is correct. Is the ad correct or false?
Everything in that ad was false.
How?
There's not going to be any monitoring of pregnancies. There's not going to be any reduction of access to IVF. There's not going to be any cut to access to birth control.
I don't believe that neither, yeah.
So it has been said, there's certain things that the Supreme Court has met on, just like abortion. The Supreme Court has already made the judgment that it is up to the states. So if Congress comes in and let's say the entire Congress, Senate, everybody is all Democrat, they put that in, guess what? It goes to the Supreme Court and they're going to remove it again. Once the Supreme Court rules, that's it. So nobody can put in a nationwide abortion ban because the Supreme Court has already ruled that federal agencies cannot handle that. Congress cannot handle a federal abortion ban. They've already made that judgment. So everything being said, they just need to find something else to run on other than Project 2025, because everybody who's talking about Project 2025 read one page of Project 2025.
Okay, now he did have a assist in the reversal of Roe versus Wade. Okay, I can agree with that, but you know how they could splice a little bit of something in something and then insert a little bit of something in something and then change the whole thing. Yeah, so I agree with both you sides.
So Trump said that women should be punished for having an abortion. He said that out of his mouth.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did. I'll show you a video where he said
I watched it earlier today when the video that you're talking about. So if you quote somebody, quote them correctly.
If Trump gives power to states to monitor or to curtail abortions when a woman needs to have that done, I'm not talking about elective. I'm talking about the life of the mother, incest, those types of things, rape, or these people dying in cars. That's his doing. He did that. You can say that Trump didn't do that, but he did. Him and the Supreme Court did that. We're not stupid.
Indirectly.
Of the United States, not of the GOP.
And he said everybody wanted to go, but that's not everybody. The majority didn't want that. The majority of people in this country agreed to a woman's right to choice. That's the majority.
And it's showing now.
But do you know how the people's voice will be heard when it comes to abortion? Because all these states, so far 7 states, have put it on their ballot back in 2022. They put it on their ballot for people to decide. Just like Minnesota, they have it up to birth. DC, you can do it after birth. There's 14 states where you can have abortion in the 3rd trimester.
Wow.
There's 27 other states where it hasn't. North Carolina is supposed to.
What kind of abortion? What kind of abortion?
Any abortion.
So you're doing the same thing he does. You're misleading people. What kind of abortion?
If you let somebody finish,
people are not having abortions in the 3rd trimester unless a woman's life is involved.
I think it turns into euthanasia at that time. I think that's where that comes from.
Suggesting that people can just say, you know what, I don't want this baby, let's kill it, and that's not what's happening. It's a lie.
No. I've seen cases when they found out that the baby in the 3rd trimester was going to be very sickly or very or handicapped.
No chance of recovery.
No chance of recovery, or a possibility of killing the mother. Then the euthanasia. Exactly. Then they would come before. Okay, let's move on to the next one.